Hey everyone, welcome back to Bite Size Tea. In this video, I'm going to be exploring Harry's recent interview where he backtracked on the Dodgers game and wearing that hat or cap, as he calls it, Hatgate, for some reason. So I'm going to be exploring this and looking at the body language and behaviour and what I think is really going on. So if this is a type of thing for you where you want to explore the psychology aspect of celebrity behaviour, then please think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't already and liking the video because it does tell YouTube I'm a channel worth keeping. That being said, go grab your drink, whatever that may be, sit back, relax as we get into some bite-sized tea. So hey everyone, I hope you've had a good weekend, whatever you were doing. So getting right into this video because I try to keep this as short and sweet as possible because obviously I appreciate that not every one of you has a lot of time on your hands. So we're exploring Harry's behaviour. So here is the video. I'm going to be breaking this down and then I'll chat about it briefly at the end. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments.
Is there anything you'd like to say at all about wearing that LA Dodgers hat last weekend?
So you can see by Harry's body language, so this interview, in my opinion, was set up and staged. And this is damage control for the backlash he got for not supporting the Blue Jays. The fact that he's rocking back and forth, you can see by his mouth, it's tense. So he knew this was coming. So he's anxious about the backlash that he's received. So he set this interview up specifically to counteract that, to hope that the lie that he's about to spin is going to cover his behind, basically.
Oh, the LA Dodgers hat, Hatgate.
By calling it Hatgate, this shows you that Harry has clearly seen all of the backlash. And so in a sense, he's almost making a mockery of this, even though this is based off Watergate, which was very, very serious. But him bobbing up and down, smirking, says that he's not taking that very seriously. Bothered him that a lot of people have spoken about it.
Well, firstly, I would like to apologise to Canada for wearing it. Secondly, I was under duress.
What he does here is a classic manoeuvre. So there's a lot of filler where he says that quite a lot in this interview. But he's already taken a defensive posture with his hands in his pockets. So this tells us that really that he doesn't actually, I believe that he's not sorry, but he knows he's been caught out. What we don't get is I'm sorry. We just get I apologize, which is a slightly distancing. But then he goes straight into blaming that he was under duress, which we're going to hear in a minute why he was under duress. But so what it would be then, it would be, well, what are you sorry for? So if you're under duress, why are you sorry? Because surely if you're under duress, that means that it's not your fault. But so what are you apologizing for? And that never gets followed up. He just says, oh, I apologize, but then completely deflects and goes into, as we'll hear in a minute, blaming somebody else or something else, which is classic Harry, really.
There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box or the dugout by the owner himself.
So this is where he's setting up the story, the lie, in a sense. So he's saying that there wasn't much choice. So this is basically saying that his only option was to wear that hat. But if you remember, when we look at the Dodger game, even the owner who was sitting behind him, who hasn't got any hair, was not wearing a cap. So he did have a choice. He could have decided to not even wear the cap, but he chose to wear the Dodgers cap. So, but here he tries to deflect by saying there wasn't much choice and then drags in the owner as if it was somehow partly the owner's responsibility for why he wasn't wearing the cap.
So I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do.
We then have this weird bobbing again, opening his arms, very childlike, but again stating that he was doing the polite thing. But like I said, the owner who was sitting behind him doesn't have any hair, was not even wearing a cap. So this is absolutely, in my opinion, this is a lie that he's conjured up because of the backlash that he received.
But I'm going to wear this from now on to make sure I don't make any more of those mistakes.
And this right here is how you know that this was staged and set up to answer that backlash, because he just so happened to have a Blue Jays cap just sitting right there.
But the other piece to this was, as you could probably relate,
This just shows you how condescending Harry is and how he really does feel that he can say and do whatever he wants with no repercussions by bringing in this man's lack of hair. He doesn't know that this might be a very sore subject for him. He doesn't know that, but he thinks it's quite amusing to then drag him into that conversation as if to get him to kind of collude with what he's talking about, with then having that as a reason why he wore the cap.
When you're missing a lot of hair on top and you're sitting under floodlights.
So again, which was it, Harry? Was it the fact that you were under duress and that was the only option you had? Or is it now because you were sitting under floodlights? But yeah, as I've said, the guy behind him, the owner, didn't feel the need to wear a cap. So as I've said, you could have not bothered to wear a cap. So this just looks so ridiculous that he's conjured up this lie because he's had some time to think about an excuse that he can give, when really he didn't even need to add this bit. He should have just left it as the beginning bit because that was bad enough. But now he's added this bit in. So why wouldn't you have been prepared? If you knew that you were going to a game, you would have been prepared, surely?
You'll take any hat that's available.
So now he's basically saying, yeah, even though I was invited by the owner, I didn't really want to support them, but I just put it on because of the fluorescent lights. But even though the owner wasn't wearing a cap, but you'll take any hat that's available, even though you could have been prepared and brought a different cap or just worn a Blue Jays one. But no.
So, game 5, game 6, game 7, I was Blue Jays throughout. Now that I've admitted that, it's going to be really hard for me to return back to Los Angeles.
What boggles my mind is why the media allow him to lie. This is so blatant. This is literally him trying to save his behind because he got so much backlash for not supporting the Blue Jays, given who his father is. And this is why the Canada trip happened. I do not believe this was a year in the works. I think that he set all of this up to try and get Canada back on side because he probably needs them in connection to Invictus. It's so transparent. He's literally doing exactly what Meghan does, really. This is just saving his behind. And what angers me is that the mainstream media just do not call these two out. They don't ask the hard questions. They don't fire back with things like, well, why didn't you just not bother wearing a hat like the guy behind you? Or why did you not think, well, I'll be prepared and I'll find a Blue Jays hat, or I'll find any other hat. And now he's basically saying, no, I wasn't supporting the LA Dodgers. I was supporting the Blue Jays, but inside there's just no journalism, in my opinion, anymore. You know, this is just so obvious to me what he's doing. And it would have been nice if this particular guy, interviewer, actually fired back with some hardball questions, but nobody does. And Harry just is just childish and immature.
But no, I'm very sorry to the Canadian public. Devastated that the Blue Jays lost, but go Jays.
So there you have it. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something that you've seen that I haven't seen? Because again, that's always possible. Please remember that I am just giving you my thoughts and my opinions from the professional knowledge and personal opinions that I have. If you see something different, that's absolutely fine, because we all can have a different perception. All I ask is that please don't attack in the comments, because it's just not necessary. If you see something different, just let me know and let me and explain what you see, because it creates a dialogue and hopefully we can all learn something from each other. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy this channel. If you want longer form videos, then head across to Tea and Therapy, because you will get longer ones over there. But if you're sticking just to this one, then thank you. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget, you can treat me to a cup of coffee. There are links in the description box below of the other platforms that I'm on. If you want to send me something, I have a PO box. You can go across to my Amazon wish list if you want to treat me to something, or my fur babies, or you can just support by watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. So that being said, I will see you in the next one. But as always, take care of yourself, and I love you. I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.